Good morning, good morning, good morning. The U.S. economy just dropped a hammer. Durable goods orders surged to 5.3%, crushing a 3.1% forecast. Gold is holding a historic ground over 5,000 right now per ounce. And U.S. rare earth went to the moon after that Donald Trump deal. It was up over 22% at one point in the pre-market. The machine is at full power. If you want the levels to trade this volatility, you're in the right place. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Wherever you're tuning in from around the globe, I'm your host, Matt Riches, and welcome to the $1 Trillion Tickers broadcast. Welcome to the family. We don't just watch the market, we master the machine to build wealth that lasts for generations. If you're ready to dominate this super week, drop a trillion in the comments right now, y'all. Let's get into this mantra. I deserve to be healthy. I deserve to be happy. I deserve the wealth that I'm building for me and my family. Riches and freedom, they come to our hands. I am the master of all I command. My learning is limitless. My earnings are too. The more I discover, the more I can do. The stock market is a machine of design, and I have the power to make that wealth mine. I am capable, I am skilled, I am bold. Blessings on my journey as the vision unfolds. Today's game plan. We're going to break down this massive durable goods beat and what it means for your wallet. We'll check out some earnings that are happening today, pre-market and after the market. We'll check out Robert Greene's law for today, January 2026. All right, give me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. All right, I just gotta pull this up right quick, y'all. Give me a second. There we go. All right, we in there. All right, here we go. So what happened with the announcements at 5:30 a.m.? Core durable goods. The forecast was 0.3%, but the actual was 0.5%. Family, this is the core signal. Because it beat, it means businesses are spending real money on machinery and computers and shows confidence in the long-term economy. And then durable goods, the estimate was 3.1%. The forecast was, but the actual was 5.3%. This is a monster beat. It signals that the manufacturing sector is not just recovering, it's accelerating. When factories get this busy, growth usually follows. All right, so let's check out the Robert Greene law for today. Avoid the counter forces to mastery. $1 Trillion Ticker family. Robert Greene is dropping gems today. He says, as you move toward mastery, social pressures will try to pull you back. People will tell you to be realistic or play it safe. These are counter forces. They don't want you to fail. They just don't want you to succeed as much as it makes them look bad. Your task? Resist. Stay rooted in your mission. Don't let the crowd noise distract you from your chart signal. The market opens in 10 minutes, 9 minutes. So let's get ready, y'all. All right, let's check out some of this news before we get started. Where we at? Give me 1 second. Oh, we was there too. Let me scroll it down right quick, y'all. Oh, earnings, okay. So pre-market earnings. Let's see if we had any companies that we care about. Nope. Ryanair. I think they just did some business with OpenAI, I believe. I reported that last week. Aftermarket close. Nah, I don't care about any of those companies. Tomorrow in the pre-market, we got UPS, General Motors, American Airlines, Northrop Grumman. Aftermarket close on Tuesday, we got Texas Instruments. And the big day is Wednesday. But I'll tell you about it later. Wednesday, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Earnings going down on Wednesday, y'all. We gonna know what's going on with this market on Wednesday after market close. All right, so this first piece of news comes from Earn Your Leisure. Y'all know Earn Your Leisure, the #1 financial platform when it comes to financial literacy. And they have a weekly show called Market Mondays. We love it. Been watching since 2020. Shout out to them brothers who did it independent. But they took 50 Market Monday loyalists to NVIDIA's global headquarters in Silicon Valley, the most valuable company in human history, valued at over $4 trillion. They said, we saw unreleased products, spoke with senior management, and toured the facility. What the hell is going on with this music? Excuse me, y'all. You know how Siri be listening and mess up your music? I don't know if you ever had that happen. Damn, got me messing up the screen. Excuse me, y'all. All right, we back. Technical difficulties. All right, we back. All right, this is from Aristotle. Y'all know Aristotle Investments. The young super millionaire doing his thing. #1. Got one of the best trading communities we've seen. He said, the more you trade, the more you realize that playing your top 3 to 5 setups only is the best way to stay profitable. Do not try to reinvent the wheel when you see nothing. Just stay cash if there's nothing. This formula is simple, but it is discipline. And that discipline is very difficult. But if you can master it, you can be profitable. Check this out. This video of an AI-powered wheelchair. Why am I seeing this delay? Anyway, I thought that was pretty dope that this AI-powered wheelchair out of China was able to go up and down the stairs. So that's going to help disabled people out a lot once that becomes mainstream. All right, next is from the Master Investor on Twitter. He said Amazon owns 15% of Anthropic. Amazon owns 15% of Anthropic, y'all. So what you think gonna happen when Anthropic IPOs? What you think the value of Amazon gonna do? It's finna go crazy, y'all. All right. So when you are investing in data centers, this is actually where the money is going. 30% is spent on power and cooling systems. 28% is spent on servers and IT equipment. 15% is spent on network equipment. 10% is spent on storage devices. 7% is spent on backup. 5% is spent on software. 4% is spent on racks and cables. And 1% is spent on remote hands support, y'all. What do we see on this chart right here? This is gold. This is gold per ounce, y'all. So right now, gold is over $5,000 an ounce. This just happened for the first time in history, y'all. And it happened on Sunday at 3 o'clock. Gold broke $5,000 an ounce, y'all. So I just wanted to show y'all that. $5,000 an ounce it broke. All right, let's get into these market caps of the most valuable companies in the world. Let's see what's going on. $1 trillion tickers, where we at? NVIDIA, number one, most valuable company in the world, 4.5 trillion. Followed by Google, 3.9 trillion. Apple, 3.66 trillion. Microsoft, 3.4 trillion. Amazon, 2.55 trillion. TSM, 1.73 trillion. Meta, 1.66 trillion. AVGO, 1.51 trillion. Tesla, 1.49 trillion. And Berkshire.B, 1.03 trillion, y'all. Let's get into these pre-market levels. NVIDIA, pre-market low, 185.70. Pre-market high, 187.18. Google, pre-market low, 325.71. Pre-market high, 328.40. Apple, pre-market low, 248.03. Pre-market high, 251.96. Apple looking very bullish in the pre-market, y'all. Microsoft, pre-market low, 463.91. Pre-market high, 468.18. Amazon, pre-market low, 237.60. Pre-market high, 240.53. Amazon is also looking very bullish in the pre-market. TSM, pre-market low, 330.51. Pre-market high, 334.73. AVGO, it's in the gap, y'all. Pre-market low, 316.47. Pre-market high, 319.98. Meta, pre-market low, 657.07. Pre-market high, 665.98. Meta's looking very bullish in the pre-market. Tesla, pre-market low, 443. Pre-market high, 447.17. Berkshire.B, pre-market low, 477.02. Pre-market high, 479.31. The VIX gapped up over the weekend, and the VIX it did run up to 1739, but it is currently at 1650, y'all. SPY, pre-market low, 686.97. Pre-market high, 690.45. And QQQ, pre-market low, 619.32. Pre-market high, 623.17, y'all. Market open. Let's get it, y'all. The market is open. January 26, 2026, 6:30 a.m. We are reporting live from California, from the Bay Area, y'all. The market is open. Let's check on these prices to these $1 trillion tickers. How we doing? NVIDIA. Oh, let me put it on a 1 minute chart so y'all can see the movement. There we go. NVIDIA is down fractionally at 187.41. Google barely over break even at 328.05. Apple up almost 1% at 250.40. Microsoft is down almost 0.5% at 463.99. Amazon is up 0.5% at 240.40. TSM is down over 1% at 331.22. AVGO is down almost 0.75% at 318. Meta is up over 1% at 665. 666.50, y'all. Shout out to that Meta recovery. Man, we've been waiting a long time for that Meta recovery, y'all. Tesla is down almost 1.5% at 442.65. And Berkshire.B is up almost 0.5% at 481.12, y'all. The VIX is at 1629. SPY is up 0.25% at 691. QQQ is up fractionally at 623.50. The Dow Jones ETF is up over 0.25% at 492.62. SPX is up almost 0.5% at 6,930. The NASDAQ 100 is up over 0.25% at 25,618. And the Dow Jones is up 0.5% at 49,235. The gold minis is over $100, y'all. It's up almost 2%. Gold is over 5,000, y'all. Let's get it. Let's get it. Gold is at $5,081 an ounce, y'all. It's hitting record highs, y'all. It's hitting record highs. Bitcoin is at 87,360. All right, so let's get to the news. Let me fix my chart. There's supposed to be 8 tickers on this chart. All right, give me 1 second, y'all. I gotta fix these tickers. All right, I need NVIDIA right there. So this is the TradingView platform. So I'm gonna have these charts, the top 8 most valuable companies in the world. Starting to the left, top left-hand corner, we have NVIDIA. To the right, we have Google, followed by Apple, and then Microsoft. And underneath NVIDIA, we have Amazon, followed by, to the right, TSM, AVGO, and Meta, y'all. My chart just reset it. I was not prepared for that. Y'all have to pardon me. I didn't know these charts was going to reset like that. But it's all good. Let me fix my color palette. There we go. We got that blue and gold. Gold to the upside, blue to the downside, y'all. All right, while I read this news, I'm going to let that rock. All right, this next piece of news comes from Davos, the World Economic Forum. Trump was speaking, y'all. Check it out.
So now our country and the world face much greater risks than it did ever before because of missiles, because of nuclear, because of weapons of warfare that I can't even talk about. 2 weeks ago, they saw weapons that nobody ever heard of. They weren't able to fire one shot at us. They said, what happened? Everything was discombobulated. They said, we've got them in our sights. Press the trigger, and nothing happened. No anti-aircraft missiles went up. There was one that went up about 30 feet and crashed down right next to the people that sent it. They said, what the hell is going on? Those defensive systems were made by Russia and by China. So they're going to go back to the drawing boards, I guess.
Ooh, that sounds like the United States has superior technology, y'all. That sounds like Palantir and Anduril, y'all. We can invest in Palantir right now, but we can't invest in Anduril, not yet. But wow, that is impressive. That is impressive. Speaking of Palantir, let's check out Palantir right quick. Since we're talking about this defense. All right. Palantir is currently $169. It's on big discount right now, y'all. If you want to get into the #1 AI defense company, Palantir is it. All right. Okay, this next piece of news. Let me go back on the 8 chart display. This next piece of news comes from the Kobayashi letter on Twitter. It says, the chief investment officer of BlackRock is now expected to be the next Fed chair. And Trump says cutting rates is a requirement for the next Fed chair and is actively calling for 1% interest rates. 2026 is going to be a wild year. All right. That's interesting.
About fundamentally what I look at.
All right, this is a clip from Market Mondays. I thought it was interesting. Check it out, y'all.
In terms of selectivity, in terms of your allocation, for every 20 investments you see, you have to say no to 19 of them. So for weeks, we've talked about fundamentally what I look at when I assess a company. And we'll talk about another one tonight. But when I'm going through and comparing companies to the primary ones that I like, they have to trump the ones that I have already. And if they don't, you have to let it go. Sometimes because of the amount of media we're taking in, we're like, hey, let me just jump in this one and let's see how it pans out. But remember, the number of shares that we own is more important than the price we particularly got in. And we want to focus on a few concentrated quality companies opposed to having 35 in a portfolio.
A few concentrated positions in quality companies opposed to having 35 in your portfolio. Shout out to Ian for that gem right there, y'all. All right. We got another clip from Trump, y'all. Here we go. Check it out. Less than 1 minute.
One of the biggest barriers to saving for a down payment has been surging credit card debt. The profit margin for credit card companies now exceeds 50%, one of the biggest. And they charge Americans interest rates of 28%, 30%, 31%, 32%. Whatever happened to usury? So to help our citizens recover from the Biden disaster, all caused by this horrible precedent, I'm asking Congress to cap credit card interest rates at 10% for 1 year. And this will help millions of Americans save for a home. They have no idea they're paying 28%. They go out there a little late in their payment and they end up losing their house. It's terrible.
Shout out Trump, though. If he actually is able to get that passed, that's going to save people a lot of money. People that's paying these crazy rates, if they're able to only pay 10% for 1 year. Now, hopefully they would actually use the money for something constructive. But yeah, that's very beneficial to the American people. All right, let's see. What else we got? Oh, it says Trump said this yesterday. China is successfully and completely taking over the once great country of Canada. So sad to see it happen. I hope they leave ice hockey alone. And then he said, Canada is systematically destroying itself. The China deal is a disaster for them. Will go down as one of the worst deals of any kind in history. All their businesses are moving to the U.S. I want to see Canada survive and thrive. All right, next piece of news. Actually, let's check out the Fear and Greed Index. Let's see what's going on with the market, y'all. Fear and Greed Index. We are at neutral. We are at 54 in the Fear and Greed Index. We are headed toward greed, but we are currently in neutral, y'all. All right. Let's check out the sectors and let's see where money is moving into, where money is moving out of. All right. Let's start with technology. Technology is up over 0.5% at 146, followed by consumer discretionary. It's down 0.25% at 122.80. XLC is up almost 0.5% at 117.42. XLF is up 0.5% at 53.34. XLV is up fractionally at 157.77. XLP is up 0.25% at 83.13. XLE is up over 0.5% at 49.49. XLU is up over 1% at 43.05. XLI is down barely under break even at 164.09. XLB is up almost 0.5% at 50.18. And XLRE is up 0.25% at 41.36, y'all. So the number one sector currently is XLU, up over 1%. And the worst sector so far today is XLY, consumer discretionary. All right. Let's check out some of our other tickers we like to check out on the show. AMD. AMD is down over 2.25%, y'all. At 253.60. Bitcoin is at 88,000. IBIT is down almost 1.5% at 49.97. Ethereum is up 3% at 2,915. BMNR is down almost 1% at 28.56. Palantir is up fractionally at 169.90. Robinhood is barely over break even at 107. Grab is barely over break even at 458. And XLG is up almost 0.5% at 58.89, y'all. Alright, let's check out some more news. Apple is reportedly less than a month away from releasing a new AI update powered by Google's Gemini for Siri, which is Apple's AI assistant. By the time they fix that, man, Siri is just terrible. Alright, I thought this was interesting. The US dollar accounted for 65% of global foreign currency reserves in 2001. 25 years later, it now accounts for just 40% of reserves, y'all. That's a big power drop in the US dollar. Where is it going to be 25 years from now? Will it not be the number one reserve? That looks like where it's headed, y'all. All right, next. The U.S. housing market has shifted into one of the strongest buyers markets on record. Home sellers outnumbered buyers by 41% in December 2025, the largest gap since Redfin data began in 2023. The percentage jumped by 7 points in November, the biggest monthly increase since September 2022. The numbers of active home buyers fell minus 5.9% month over month to 1.3 million, the lowest level on record. Meanwhile, home sellers declined negative 1.1% month over month to 1.97 million, the lowest since February 2025. By comparison, in November 2021, there were 36.5% fewer sellers than buyers. This all comes as elevated housing costs and economic uncertainty continue to push buyers to the sideline. Buyers now hold unprecedented negotiating power, but only if they can afford to enter the market. All right. This next article comes from Forbes. Why are there suddenly so many self-made billionaires under 30? It's fueled by AI, prediction markets, and online gambling. There are more self-made millionaires under 30 than ever before. 13, up from a previous record of 7. Oh yeah, let me check out USAR. So the Trump administration is taking a 10% stake in USA Rare Earth, ticker symbol USAR. Let's see how much that thing ran. Okay. Yeah, Trap was talking about this last week too. Look at that. Let's see that gap. Ooh, look at that gap, y'all. So this gap has been filled. This was the gap to the downside. We'll go ahead and delete that. But then it just created this gap to the upside. I can delete this entry too as well. All right. Gap. That's a big gap, y'all. That is a big gap. Man. Let's see. Ooh, that's a 15% gap, y'all. That thing gapped up crazy. Shout out to everybody that bought USAR last week. Especially if you bought them options. Ooh, that thing running. That thing running. You never know what company the Trump administration is going to buy a 10% stake of. Hopefully they buy 10% stake in a company that I own. Come on, Trump, make it happen, man. All right. This next piece comes from Global Statistics. The largest asset management firms. Number 1, BlackRock. They have 13.5 trillion under management. Followed by Vanguard, 11.6 trillion under management. And then it's a steep drop, but it's still crazy paper. Fidelity, 5.9 trillion. Followed by State Street, 4.7 trillion. And then JP Morgan at 3.6 trillion. Goldman Sachs, 3.1 trillion, y'all. It's a lot of assets under management, y'all. Let's check out Vanguard's top 10 stock holdings. NVIDIA, which is 6%. They own $415 billion worth of NVIDIA. Next, Microsoft, which is 5%. They own $364 billion worth of Microsoft. Followed by Apple, $356 billion. Amazon, $187 billion. AVGO, $158 billion. Meta, $143 billion. Ooh. If the biggest asset managers don't own the companies you are invested in, you are taking a risk, y'all. You are taking a risk. Excuse me. All right, Trump threatens to impose 100% tariff on Canada if they strike that deal with China that we were talking about earlier. Meta is going all in on AMD. In 2025, Meta generated 42% of AMD's GPU revenue. It's AMD's largest customer. This week, news broke that Meta will adopt AMD's MI455X for AI inference workloads, putting in-house ASICs on hold and skipping Google's TPUs. The future looks bright for Meta and AMD. And you know who that is? That is Zuckerberg and Lisa Su, y'all. It's a lot of big dogs that got earnings this week. Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, Meta, ASML. Last year's biggest growth company as far as percentage, who grew the most? SanDisk, ticker SNDK. Western Digital also has earnings. SoFi, MasterCard, Visa, American Express, ExxonMobil, Chevron, General Motors, Boeing, UPS, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, AT&T, Verizon, United Health, Starbucks, American Airlines, Southwest Airlines, y'all. Shout out to all my Southwest people checking out the show. Shout out to everybody on YouTube Live and TikTok Live. This next piece comes from Shining Science on Twitter. It says, "Rest in peace, Dr. Gladys West. The world just lost the mathematical genius behind GPS technology. Gladys West, the mathematical titan who developed the essential foundation for GPS, died at the age of 95. She was born in 1930 in rural Virginia. She spent her childhood picking crops before a scholarship to Virginia State College launched her into a 40-year career with the U.S. Navy. As one of only 4 black professionals at the Naval Proving Ground in 1956, she worked in a quiet brilliance to solve the complex algorithms that account for the Earth's gravitational irregularities. Oh, I can't say that word. Irregularities. Oh, forget it. The irregular gravitational pulls of the Earth. That's funny, yo. That's funny. Her calculations were not just academic exercises. They were the indispensable building blocks for the satellite navigation system that billions of people rely on today for everything from global shipping and aviation to daily commutes and smartphone apps. Shout out to Gladys West, y'all. A huge contributor to the world we know today. All right, this next clip comes from Palantir CEO Alex Karp at Davos at the World Economic Forum.
I think one of the unfortunate things of the narrative in the West is it will destroy humanity's jobs of, like, you went to an elite school and you studied philosophy. Hopefully you have some other skill. If you're a vocational technician, or like we're building batteries for a battery company, and the people who are doing it in America are doing roughly the same job that Japanese engineers are doing, and they went to high school. And now they're very valuable, if not irreplaceable, because we can make them into something different than what they were very rapidly. And those jobs are going to become more valuable.
Damn, he said people in Japan in high school got the same knowledge as people in college in America. Oh, America, we got to step it up, y'all. We got to step it up. We getting scraped by high schoolers. Damn. All right, let me run these prices, y'all. Let me run these prices. $1 trillion tickers. NVIDIA. NVIDIA is down now. NVIDIA is down fractionally at 187.42. Google is up 0.5% at 329. Apple is up 2% at 253. Microsoft is up 0.75% at 469. Amazon is down almost 0.25% at 238. TSM is down 0.5% at 333. AVGO is up 2.25% at 327, y'all. Looks like AVGO has closed this mini gap that was inside the gap, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete that off the chart. And now it's still in the bigger gap, but it's moving very nice today. Meta is up over 1% at 665. Tesla is down over 2.25% at 433. Berkshire.B is up Berkshire.B is up 0.25% at 480. The VIX is continuing to drop. That's great. It's now down to 1607. SPY is up almost 0.5% at 692. QQQ is up almost 0.5% at 625. Dow Jones ETF is up over 0.25% at 492. SPX. Oh, looks like we closed this gap, y'all. I can delete that. SPX is up over 0.5% at 6,947. The NASDAQ 100 is up almost 0.75% at 25,713. And the Dow Jones is up 0.5% at 49,274. The gold minis are over 100, y'all. And the gold per ounce is $5,094. It's headed back to 5,100, y'all. Bitcoin is at 88,000. Let's check out some ETFs we like to look at. IWM, the Russell 2000 is up over 0.25% at 265. SPYM is up almost 0.5% at 8150. QQQM is up almost 0.5% at 257. SPYG is up over 0.5% at 107.64. SOXQ is barely over break even at 62.64. TQQQs is up over 1% at 55. SOXL is down over 0.25% at 61. SOXX is down fractionally at 344. SMH is down barely under break even at 399. XLG is up 0.5% at 58.93. The IVES 30 is up almost 0.5% at 32.97. SPYI is up over 0.25% at 52.70. And QQQI is back in the gap, y'all. That is great. Shout out to QQQI for getting back into the gap. Hopefully it can fill this gap by the end of the day. It's at 54.06, y'all. All right, that's what we got. Check this clip out. Elon talking about the power of having internet access.
We can provide low-cost, high-bandwidth internet to parts of the world that don't have it or where it's very expensive. And I think the single biggest thing you can do to lift people out of poverty and help them is giving them an internet connection. Because once you have the internet connection, you can learn anything for free on the internet, and you can also sell your goods and services to the global market. SpaceX has a very dominant position in space launch. So of the mass launch to orbit this year, SpaceX will probably do 90% at this point. About maybe approaching 80% of all active satellites in orbit are SpaceX, and they're providing high bandwidth global connectivity throughout the world. In fact, this connection is on a SpaceX connection.
Shout out to Elon, man. He said we got 80% of the satellites in the Earth's orbit. Ooh, that sound like paper. Shout out to Elon for giving all the poor people in rural areas access to the internet so they can pull themselves out of poverty. If you got the internet, nothing can stop you. You can learn. All you need is the internet and the motivation to learn. And you can better yourself. All right. What else we got? It's 7 o'clock, y'all. We'll save that for another day. All right. Let's get into some Instagram motivation before we get up out of here.
Don't speak negatively about yourself, even as a joke. Your body doesn't know the difference. Words are energy and they cast spells. That's why it's called spelling. Change the way you speak about yourself and you can change your life.
That's something, Bruce. Beautifully put.
That's Bruce Lee
Don't
speaking.
speak negatively about yourself, even as a joke. Your body doesn't know the difference. Words are energy and they cast spells. That's why it's called spelling. Change the way you speak about yourself and you can change your life.
That's something, Bruce. Beautiful.
Shout out Bruce Lee, man. Legend.
The reason why you so lazy is not because you don't have the ability. You so lazy because your dreams so small. Your dreams are so small. Humans do not transition to another level when they're comfortable with the level that they're on. You only go to another level when you're on this level and you eating out of trash cans and you say, enough is enough. When you're living in abandoned buildings in the winter and you say enough, you only transition from one level to the next when you're tired of the level you on. That's the only way you you don't transition in life if you're happy with where you are. And the problem with some of you is you happy being broke. You've gotten content. The reason why you...
Ooh, y'all know who that is. That's E.T., man. E.T., #1 motivational speaker in the world.
It ain't all good, but it ain't all bad either. So be thankful. Be happy. Smile. We're gonna be productive today.
We will be productive today.
Be happy. Y'all gonna be productive today. So just be happy.
Shout out to that young brother, man. You know how we like to end the show. Nipsey Hussle, legendary.
It don't happen overnight, and there's going to be moments when it's really, really frustrating, and there's going to be moments when it's really, really inspiring and empowering. And if you get too high off the highs and too low off the lows, you're going to take yourself on a ride that's very uncomfortable. I think it's just about being committed to the work, appreciating it, when it's good and not stressing too bad when it's bad, just appreciating the work and staying focused on showing up every day.
That's what we do here, y'all, at $1 Trillion Tickers. We show up every day. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to the show. We'll be back tomorrow in the pre-market for the market open and breaking news. Hope y'all learned something today. I am your host, Matt Riches. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom.